Cooper's Family, Part 10. Meanwhile, David's next patient was an 11-year-old boy who keeps having dreams about the Grim Reaper calling his name out to die. I am going to kill you! I am going to kill you! His parents were worried and friends thought he was a freak, but the Grim Reaper coming for him made him act seemed very real. And some nearby kids asked, was the Grim Reaper black? And your card was the death card? And they were willing to help me, but I don't believe in the Grim Reaper. I just think it looked like him for what I remembered on television. What could I do here, Dave? David said, you have to search your inner beliefs, which most people don't know until they're older. That might be the only way you could kill these visions. Sometimes people have beliefs that other people can't imagine anyone could ever believe, that the beliefs, because in them it seems so real. He said sometimes the Grim Reaper tries to take his poppy away from him and threatens if his poppy doesn't die soon, if he will die as young as he is now. The family were interested if there was a medication that could control this vision, but David says this problem is mainly too adult for him, because most kids believe that the Grim Reaper is cool, and the parents know that it is not real, and the kid will learn in time. David said, if you stop thinking about the negative side of this situation, maybe it will go away, like when he thinks about it trying to change the subject. And if it doesn't work for 7 days, don't be ashamed to call me, okay? Neighbour's next patient was Fran Bellingham, who has just been put on a medication that forces movements in his fingers, right in front of her face. It forces movement in the fingers, and sometimes the muscle tissue on her arms. David had a few exercises that placing her fingers in front of her face to see if they move unusually. David saw that they have little movements and in the hand and needed to sort of relax. David also saw movement in her tongue, which is normal for her medication, but when you say it to Fran, she almost bites your head off. There is nothing wrong with me! She doesn't mean to do that, but she is determined that she doesn't want to be a guinea pig to be put to the medicine line either. She says, if the medication keeps me normal, I don't want to change. David said to her, I don't think that you should go off your medication. I just think that you should watch your odd movements in your body. So if there can be any chance to fix it, we could, with your blessing, of course. Fran asked David if she needs to exercise her hands more to stop it, or just do nothing. And David said, yeah, exercise is good. John Prenk was causing motorcycle mayhem by riding to his date with Sue. The only problem was that every car on the road had the had the drivers having conversation on their mobile phones, and it was hard for John to get around in fear of being rode off the road. He tried to go around one, and the driver yelled out, "Watch it, mate, you stupid dickhead!" So he went back behind, and he tried to go around the other, and he yelled, "You fucking idiot!" as he went back, but he wanted to take the risk here because these people were such losers. Then John thought if he behaved like a bikie, they might take more notice of him. So he lifted his front wheel to do a wheelie and then went off like a bikie. But when he came to the front, he crashed into the road, and the cars went head over turkey with him over them, which caused a major accident. When the paramedics got there, they tried to save John's life and others as well. Others went over to the cars. David, who was also there, rang Sue in the restaurant to say the bad news about John, and Sue started crying and boring the tears of the waiters at the restaurant. After Sue had a quite unexpected meal for one at the club, she went to the hospital to visit John, and he was still unconscious with Sue at his bedside. John's parents came down and wondered who this strange lady who was by her bed is. When Sue told them the truth, there were a few sparks flying, like they were blaming her for this situation. John said, "You were a handful, but we refused to believe him." She said the truth, but they wouldn't believe her. So Sue ran home to Ron, hoping he could fix this little problem. But Ron told her, "If John really loves you, he will come to you. People don't listen to parents like that in the way you think anymore." A week later, Sue got out of bed, fresh to start back at work after her ordeal with the strange lady at John's bedside. Sue had planned to the next 3 days of her time back at work on a piece of paper she kept in her pocket. You see, what she wanted to do is just talk to the patients, but don't get over involved, because that's what got her into this mess in the first place. Her first patient was a mother who has big dreams for her 8-year-old daughter. When she wanted her is that when she finished school, she will be a ballet dancer, but to the dismay of her father and daughter. But Sue tried not to get involved with this family battle. Just said, let her do what she wants, because you only get one shot to really impress her. And frankly, the way you are going, you are going to drive her over the edge. And I mean that in the nicest way possible. After that, after they left Sue, Sue went into her father's room and blabbed the problems her last patient has, and drove Ron to have a bottle of whiskey. Sue went into her room to see her next patient, who was a schizophrenic man who hears voices saying he should grab a child and rape him or her. And she told him that if he does that, he will go to jail for a long time, and there is no way you will see anyone you love anymore. She taught herself to be calm and not worry about what she could have had with John, and she had to move on. That's the end of part 10.